A new chapter in the search for alien life has begun. As you gaze into the endless canvas of the night sky, watching billions of stars shimmer across the darkness, one timeless question echoes through the human mind. Are we truly alone in the universe? For centuries, philosophers, scientists, and dreamers have searched for an answer. And now, humanity may finally be closer than ever before. That leap forward comes from one extraordinary machine, the James Webb Space Telescope. Designed to peer deeper into space than any telescope before it, Webb acts like a cosmic time machine, capturing faint light that has traveled across the universe for hundreds, sometimes billions, of years. Recently, Webb focused its powerful instruments on a distant and mysterious world known as K2-18b. Located roughly 120 light-years away in the constellation Leo, this exoplanet may be one of the most important worlds ever discovered. At first glance, K2-18b appears strange. It is larger than Earth but smaller than Neptune, placing it in a rare category scientists call a sub-Neptune, a type of planet that does not even exist in our own solar system. These worlds are difficult to understand because they are unlike anything familiar to us. Not fully rocky like Earth. Not giant gas planets like Jupiter. Something in between. And with that mystery comes excitement. K2-18b orbits a small red dwarf star called K2-18. Although the planet circles very close to its star, much closer than Earth is to the Sun, the star itself is cooler and dimmer. That places K2-18b inside the so-called Goldilocks zone, where temperatures may allow liquid water to exist. And then came the discovery that stunned astronomers. The James Webb Space Telescope detected water vapor in the planet's atmosphere. But the surprises did not end there. Using a technique called spectroscopy, Webb analyzed the light passing through the atmosphere and discovered traces of methane and carbon dioxide. These molecules alone do not prove life exists. However, scientists also detected a possible sign of something far more intriguing. A molecule called dimethyl sulfide, or DMS. On Earth, DMS is produced almost entirely by living organisms, especially microscopic marine life such as phytoplankton. In other words, it can act as a potential biosignature, a chemical hint that biology may exist. If confirmed, this would become one of the strongest possible signs of extraterrestrial life ever detected beyond our solar system. Of course, scientists remain cautious. The evidence is still being studied and requires further confirmation. But even the possibility is extraordinary. K2-18b may not contain forests, animals, or advanced civilizations. Yet it could possess something equally profound, a planetary environment capable of supporting microbial life. And that possibility changes everything. Because for the first time in human history, we are no longer simply imagining alien worlds. We are beginning to study them scientifically. And K2-18b may only be the beginning. At first glance, it may sound like just another scientific headline. But in reality, discoveries like this have the power to reshape humanity's understanding of its place in the cosmos. Because for most of human history, the search for life beyond Earth focused on one basic assumption. If life exists elsewhere, it probably looks something like life here. Scientists searched for rocky planets similar to Earth. Worlds orbiting at just the right distance from their stars. Not too hot. Not too cold. Planets with atmospheres, oceans, and climates resembling our own world. But the universe rarely conforms to human expectations. And K2-18b may be proving that life does not necessarily require an Earth-like planet at all. To understand why this possibility is so revolutionary, we need to explore a new category of worlds that is transforming modern astronomy. Hycean planets. The term, Hycean, combines two words, hydrogen and ocean. In 2021, astrophysicists proposed the existence of these strange and potentially habitable worlds, planets unlike anything found in our own solar system. Hycean planets are believed to contain enormous global oceans hidden beneath thick hydrogen-rich atmospheres. Imagine an entire world covered almost completely by water. No continents. No mountains. No forests. Only vast planetary oceans stretching endlessly beneath dark alien skies. Above those oceans exists a dense atmosphere rich in hydrogen gas, capable of trapping enormous amounts of heat. And that changes everything. Because traditionally, scientists believed habitable planets had to exist within a very narrow temperature range. Too cold, and water freezes. Too hot, and oceans evaporate. But Hycean worlds may challenge that assumption entirely. The thick hydrogen atmosphere acts like a giant insulating blanket, trapping heat through an extreme greenhouse effect. Under these conditions, liquid water could potentially survive even in environments previously considered impossible for life. Some theoretical models suggest these oceans might remain stable at temperatures approaching 200 degrees Celsius. On Earth, that would seem utterly hostile. But deep beneath immense atmospheric pressure, the laws of chemistry begin behaving differently. And life, if it exists there, would likely be unlike anything humanity has ever imagined. Perhaps microscopic organisms drifting through warm global oceans. Perhaps ecosystems thriving in darkness beneath crushing atmospheric pressure. Perhaps forms of biology built upon chemical pathways entirely unfamiliar to Earth. And astonishingly, K2-18b may fit this description almost perfectly. That is why astronomers around the world became so excited when Webb's observations arrived. Because K2-18b may not simply be another exoplanet. It may represent the first strong evidence for an entirely new category of habitable world. And if Hycean planets truly exist, the implications are staggering. One of the greatest challenges in astronomy is finding planets that are both detectable and potentially habitable. Earth-sized worlds are extremely difficult to observe because they are small and dim compared to their stars. But Hycean planets solve part of that problem naturally. They are larger. Their atmospheres are thicker. And because of that, telescopes like the James Webb Space Telescope can analyze them far more easily. In other words, Hycean worlds may become the ideal targets in humanity's search for alien biology. And there may be far more of them than Earth-like planets. That possibility dramatically increases the number of worlds where life could potentially emerge. For decades, scientists wondered whether Earth was rare. Now, some researchers are beginning to ask an even more profound question. What if Earth-like planets are not the most common homes for life at all? What if the universe is filled with ocean worlds hidden beneath hydrogen skies? To investigate these possibilities, Webb uses one of the most sophisticated techniques ever developed in astronomy, transit spectroscopy. As K2-18b passes in front of its star, a tiny fraction of starlight filters through the planet's atmosphere before reaching Webb's instruments. Different molecules absorb specific wavelengths of light. By carefully analyzing those missing wavelengths, scientists can identify the atmosphere's chemical composition with astonishing precision. Incredibly, from only a few hours of observation, Webb detected evidence of water vapor, methane, and carbon dioxide within K2-18b's atmosphere. Each of those molecules is important. But together, they create something far more intriguing. A planetary environment that may possess the fundamental ingredients necessary for life. And then came the most controversial discovery of all. Possible traces of dimethyl sulfide. Or DMS. On Earth, DMS is produced almost entirely by living organisms, especially microscopic marine phytoplankton. It is considered a potential biosignature, a chemical marker that may indicate biological activity. To be clear, scientists remain cautious. The detection is still tentative and requires additional confirmation. No one is claiming alien life has been discovered. Not yet. But even the possibility has electrified the scientific community.